Hi, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to draw a beautiful and colorful toucan bird. The last video I did on this channel was a little bit advanced level and was based on hyperrealism. So this time I decided to do a simple one which doesn't require a higher skill level. So make sure you give this a try and let's get started. So I'm gonna use these Fabercastell's classic color pencils, and the reason behind using these specific colors is that they are cheap and easily available on nearly every art store around the world. Obviously not everyone can afford polychromos or Prismacolor pencils, so it's a good choice for beginners. Anyways, I've selected the following colors for this specific drawing, and you can pause the video right here to note them down. You can watch my previous video on color pencils to see how I select colors for my drawings. So as always, I'm already done with the outline and I always use grid method for the outlines. You can find both the reference image and grid reference on my Patreon profile. For this drawing, I also uploaded the line drawing grid reference, and you can find all the links in the description down below. So first of all, I'm gonna render this eye portion, and I'm gonna use this 399 black color to darken the outlines first. Now using this 345 sky blue color to fill the RS with a base color. Don't put too much pressure, you just need a lighter base with this color. You can also use 347 here if you want. Now add the second layer using the 363, which will give you this cyan or turquoise color in the RS. And you can also increase or decrease the amount of these two colors to get your desired color here. Now fill the pupil using the black color. Okay, now you can use this jelly roll pen and add the highlights in the upper side of the RS. Just like this. And when the pigment is completely dried, you can use a sharp blade or a metal piece like this to reshape the highlights according to your needs. Now use this 307 and fill the surrounding portion of the eye with a base layer. Fill this portion slowly and thoroughly. Don't rush into finishing the drawing if you really want to achieve some realistic results, because realism requires patience. Okay, now for the green portion around the eye, we can use two methods. First one is using a blue color like this 360 and adding the second layer above this yellow color. But this will look a little bit dull if you have a cheaper brand of colors that doesn't perform well in the layering method. Plus, I also added these little lines using a pencil before completely filling this area with green color, which was really a bad idea because I had to erase all the colors and start over. But this time I decided to fill the area with actual parrot green color 366. And then I added these little lines using a sharp tip pencil, just like this. You can also use the black color with a sharp tip if you want. I just like using a mechanical pencil because you don't need to sharpen the tip again and again. Now I'm gonna use this same 307 yellow color and fill the remaining front portion. And by the way, if you are an absolute beginner and really don't know how to even start a drawing or draw the outlines, you can join my course on Udemy. Although it's based entirely on pencil sketching, but still you can get all the required skills and techniques to start and finish a color pencil drawing on your own. I'm also working on pencil color drawing course, which will be available very soon. Okay, now grab a sharp tip graphite pencil or a black color and add these texture lines for the fur or feathers. Fill this whole yellow portion with these lines and also keep an eye on the reference image to see the direction of these lines in each single portion. So once you're done with the lines, use a 309 brownish color and add the color on some of these lines you just added to blend them and get a smooth and even contrast, just like this. And once you're done with this, you can use a mono zero eraser and add these white lines in between to get a realistic feathers texture. If you have a rectangular mono zero eraser, it will work better in this case. And also add some darker shade below the beak using a black color or a pencil and blend it using a 309. Okay, moving on to the black feathers portion, and I'm just gonna fill it with 399 first. and then we will add the texture if required. And make sure you fill this lower portion with a red color like 321 or 318 first. Now add a slightly darker shade with a pencil or black color in this portion and blend it with a tissue paper. And continue adding the black feathers over this red portion, just like this. You just have to add these type of faded lines in order to get the perfect feather texture. And then fill the remaining portion with plain black color. Okay, now use a craft knife or any other sharp tip metal and scrape off the black layer to add these few white feathers. This technique works perfectly in a layered area where you've added 2 or 3 layers on top of each other. In that case, the metal will scrape off the top layer and leave the lower layers. Just like this. But make sure you don't put too much pressure or you will ruin the paper. And then you can fill the extra white lines with the red color if required. You can also use a mono zero eraser to erase the black color and add the highlights for the wings. Okay, now for this upper portion, I'm going to use this 392 and add a base layer because it has a little bit of brownish shade to it. Now I'm going to use the black color and repeat the same process as I did in the lower portion and fill this area with feathers. You can just fill the black color in this middle portion, but make sure the outer lines or regions had these faded strokes or feathers. And again use the craft knife and scrape off the color from some of these areas to make a proper feathers texture. Also add this texture in this upper black portion. Okay, moving on to the beak portion. First of all, fill this starting portion of the beak with black color. And also add these highlights with a mono zero eraser. Now grab this 360 cyan or turquoise color and fill this upper portion of the beak. Make sure you leave this small area along the upper outline for the orange color. And also leave this middle portion for the highlight or shine on the beak. We don't need a highly saturated color here, but we need a perfectly smooth and blended color. So you have to use the tip of your color and keep the pressure minimum in order to get a perfectly smooth color. Now I'm going to use the 307 and merge it with the blue or cyan color to get a little bit of parrot green color, especially in the outer portion of this cyan color. Now I'm going to use this 309 and fill this upper portion with a little bit of orange color, just like this. Now grab this 314 and fill this lower portion with a little bit more saturated orange color like this. Then use 321 red color and add this design in the orange portion. Basically the different colors in this whole beak is formed because of color mixing of some primary colors. So you can use just a few colors to get these different ranges of the colors in the beak. You can mix red and blue color to get this purple color here. Now I'm going to use this 327 light purple color and fill the ending portion of the upper beak. Add a light base layer first and then use this 318 to give it a little bit reddish touch. Then use this 328 to add another purple layer. And in the end you can use the black color to add the shadows and create a perfect contrast. And also extend these little triangular designs. Okay, now moving on to the lower beak, and first of all I'm going to use this 347 and fill it with a base layer, leaving this little portion in the start. And make sure you add consecutive layers on top of each other or keep the tip sharp to get a perfectly smooth layer. Then you can use this 345 and darken or saturate the ending portions of the beak, just like this. And then you can use the 307 yellow color to add the second layer in the starting portion of the beak, by also filling this empty portion in the start. You can also keep layering with the blue and yellow to get the perfect green color as required. And then you can use the exact same approach of coloring the tip of this lower beak as I did for the upper beak. Once you're done with the coloring process, grab your black color and add the contrast and shadows in this lower portion of the beak. and also in this middle portion to separate the two beaks portion. You can also extend or shade this design using the same black color, just like this. And in the end, you can use the Tombow Mono Zero Eraser to add the highlights here and make this lining of the upper beak look more prominent. And with this last step, we are done with this beautiful toucan drawing. So I hope you enjoyed and learned something new from this one. If you wanna get the real-time video of this drawing, you can visit my Patreon profile. And if you are a beginner and want to learn sketching from scratch, you can join my course on Udemy. All the links are in the description down below. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.